What's happening, Daniel? Yes, you are first. Give a few minutes for a few people to jump on here. Hey, what's going on, RL? You missed the last one. Asante, hello. How are you? Everybody's jumping on, wants to talk about the Mavic Air. Everybody's excited. Even though I don't have one, everybody is still excited to hear what I have to say. I've been following it super closely and watching a lot of YouTube videos and checking out a lot of stuff on the interwebs about it, which is kind of why I wanted to have a podcast, because I love staying involved. Say hi to me while my wife is listening so I can get out of the house. Hey, come out of the house. I did a little bit more work on the reverb earlier, RL, too. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. I was downstairs checking out a 3D print that failed on me. I got about halfway through and it failed. Oh, you got to fly today. I flew like half a pack today. Yeah, the wind was crazy. And now, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up here real quick and see where the actual snow is. Yep. I'll switch to the old screen view here. So I am like right there, and if we play the old animation, there is just nothing but snow coming at us and twirling around, and it is supposed to be a really bad couple of days. So that is a huge bummer. Yeah, so my 3D print failed. I'm trying to print a session mount for my reverb, even though I have a second one ordered. And I got to about probably, it was about 2.5, 3, it was about 3 or 4 hours into it, but that was a different one. This one here is like an 8-hour print, which means it's probably like 9. And the other one printed about 6 hours. It's the first time I've actually got my 3D printers printing TPU, so it's kind of a learning experience. So I don't know where it went wrong. I think my support materials here were a little too narrow, and I believe that is why it failed. So, but that's okay. No big deal. So I guess we're here to talk about the Mavic Air, and let's talk about it. And the first thing I want to say is, wow, people really are jumping all over this thing when it comes to YouTube and the amount of videos that are out there. It's just like, watch the Mavic Air do this, watch the Mavic Air land, watch the Mavic Air take this picture, watch the Mavic Air do this. So I am not buying it either, Asante, and the reasons I am not buying it are because a couple of the reasons are what I mentioned in my podcast a couple weeks ago before it came out, and it is because it does not have OcuSync. The boosted Wi-Fi that they're putting into that and the 4-kilometer range, I'm not going to fly at 4 kilometers away. I would try, but I know I'm not going to. Most of my flying would be within 1.5 to like 2 kilometers. Pretty much what I do right now with my FPV stuff. And most of that stuff is still within it. I got Crossfire, but most of it's still within 0.5 to 1 kilometer. But I've seen videos where people have got to 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, direct line of sight, and already had transmission breakup problems. I've seen them try to correct antenna orientation and, go higher to fix it, which ruins the shot that you're trying to do, and all kind of stuff. So, I mean, a Wi-Fi drone just makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know why people bought it. But then I do know why people bought it, and I will show you because, it's just so interesting that if we go on to the Mavic Air Group, and this is another thing that drives me crazy, and I don't know, you'll see it, but let's just take a look. This is the official DJI Mavic Air Group here. So there's only 283 members. I'm sure there'll be a lot more than that here soon, but this is pretty cool, the asteroid pictures and everything like that. But then you get into this stuff. I mean, when the Mavic started getting sticker bombed on like every post on Facebook, that's kind of when I knew that I was like, oh man, it might be time to move on to something else. I don't know. But you've already got stuff like this, and whatever, that's cool. But you've got all of these people that are still brand new people that are buying it. Here you go. Well, this question just is crazy because he has the DJI goggles and he has an Inspire 1, but he does not yet know how the DJI goggles work. He doesn't know that they only work wirelessly with OcuSync, and everything else you have to hook up using the wire. Which means you don't get the full quality of the goggles. I don't understand. These things have been out for over a year and people still can't understand it. So this video here is pretty crazy, that how much crashing that the Mavic actually did and how much abuse it took. They poured water on it. They crashed it in sports mode into a tree and all this other stuff. And it did live to survive. So another unboxing video. There's been about 500 unboxing videos. This right here, beeping and it won't shut up. This is because the controller has actually lost its bind to the Mavic. So that is a pretty basic problem and question that you would have with a Mavic or any DJI thing. Some more unboxing pictures. I got the last one in stock. I got it. This guy here is looking to start a business with this Mavic Air. Good luck to that, buddy. I tried that. Here we go. This guy doesn't know whether or not he should fly his Mavic Air or not. So, I just find it funny, the stuff that you see, But you get to see the stuff actually working right here. Like, that's pretty sweet that it'll just automatically do that. One button push, and this is the result that you get. I mean, that's pretty sweet. How to pack it in the bag. This guy has a lot of money. Something's in that box. 360 promo shots. Those are dumb. I don't like 360 shots because then you have to do this. This is a pretty good night picture, though. That's a really good balance. I've heard a lot of good things about the camera. The video quality I've heard is... There's a couple YouTube guys that I watched that are not like super drone guys, but they do like some drone stuff. One of them's Tony Lee Glenn. He's a pretty cool dude. He lives in like South or North Carolina, and he plays like blues music and stuff, but he's really into like music and editing, and he's been doing some pretty good stuff with the Mavic, and he's kind of one of those guys that, he's slightly big on YouTube, but he doesn't get free stuff or anything like that, so he can pretty much do and say whatever he wants, kind of like me. And he has brought up a couple things. So we talk about the video. The biggest thing is that people don't realize is they're going and shooting, if we look at the Mavic Air stats here, people are going and shooting in 4K 100 megabit a second video, and they just don't realize the processing power that takes to even play that video back, let alone start editing it in Premiere or Final Cut. In Premiere Pro on my 2015 Mac, I mean, if I take a 1080p GoPro video from my session and I start messing around with some of the creative settings, then I can't even play that back at full res. I have to, play a proxy of it. So a lot of people are like, why won't my 4K videos play on my computer? Well, that's why. Yeah, but the 100 megabit a second looks good, but like I said, you just can't do anything with it. You have to edit it, then you have to render it out, then you have to watch it, then you have to render it out, because I mean, Tony, I think, said he has like a fully decked out like 2017 like iMac with like 32 gigs of RAM and an SSD drive and all kinds of stuff, and still has like crazy problems with it. I haven't saw really any good slow motion video yet. When it comes to like HDR though, like that's a good shot right there. I really like that. So, here's another guy, a brand new one. And this is the thing, like, DJI is still managing to pull in first-time drone buyers with every release that they have. That's the thing that just amazes me. Every person that buys one. But, you know, I mean, there's nothing else to buy besides DJI, but it's like, you know, they buy the new hotness because they think it's the best one that's out there, when really it's probably not. And then here we go with the same pictures that people did, putting the Mavics in the poses and all that kind of stuff. Does the Mavic not last for 21 minutes? I mean, seriously? No, it wasn't. It won't. I've heard that the battery charges really fast, though. Tony Lee Glenn said the battery charges in like a half hour, which is pretty cool. So there's another good shot there. Mavic Pro versus Mavic Air. I mean, you're never going to be able, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But they are out there. This goes all the way back now. Here's another range test. 5.8 versus 2.4. A lot of the same stuff that we already have dealt with before. So the pluses for the Mavic Air, I've heard the camera is really good for photos. I have heard that it handles very well. It's obvious in the wind and everything. It's obviously very durable. It's obviously very small. It's easy and fun to use, I suppose. I have not seen anybody do anything with flight autonomy, as far as like try to fly it to the end of some woods and hit the button and see what happens. You're not going to make it, like I said last week, you're not going to make it there anyway, because you're going to start dropping Wi-Fi link and it's going to want to return to home. So let's see here. So we know that this is more like 15 minutes now. We know that it's not that quiet. It is fast right now, but with the Mavic Pro, they will dumb that down. And after the crazy drone videos and stuff like that that came out the past couple days, where the guy was close to the airliner, that means we're just going to have more and more restrictions built into these things and their flight controllers and their software. The enhanced Wi-Fi, this was the big reason why I said I wouldn't buy it, and it looks like it's kind of hit and miss depending upon where you're flying at and everything else. It's not like the Mavic where you can just pop it up anywhere you want to and you're solid out to a mile, no problem. And then goggles, yeah, they work, but only with a wire. They are not wireless, and that is the problem. So, I don't know what else to say about all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's very gimmicky. I mean, not 90, but 80% of the stuff that they put into these is all gimmick stuff. I mean, I never used tap fly. I used maybe a couple of the quick shots. I never really used active track, you know. I mean, I'm never in the middle of an open field where active track can track me. I did it tracking my car once, but still, like, you got to get to such a high altitude to make sure that you don't hit anything. I mean, all of these active track shots that you see, people are like in the middle of fields, or if they're doing cars, they're on a track or something like that. So, you know, what are you supposed to do? I mean, the drone is cool. It's great technology. It's a great step. I would have bought. I would have wanted. I wouldn't have bought it because can't afford to buy it. But I would have considered purchasing it if it had OcuSync for the size and everything that it has. I would have been able. I would have been willing to give up the flight time to go towards to go to the Mavic Air if it would have had OcuSync, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to for me from now on with the DJI stuff. And I don't know how many more OcuSync drones we're gonna see. You know, I don't know how closely some of you guys follow the whole FPV world and everything like that, but the FCC is actually going after a lot of people and a lot of manufacturers for selling gear that is outside of the FCC's limits. Now, they've went after a couple retailers for selling equipment that will broadcast on channels that are not in the protected band in 5.8 and 2.4. So DJI video and transmission runs through those protected bands, but when it comes to OcuSync and Lightbridge, there has to be something else to make it work that good, and that something else has to be higher power. So you can get limited on the amount of power. I think like the limit is that you're allowed to legally say you can do is like 250 or 500 milliwatts over like 5.8 or something, but I don't know. Maybe it's higher than that. I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah, I've been looking at that Evo, but I mean, I definitely value what you say, Asante, but it's just like, it's just not going to be any better than any DJI product that's out there in the past 2 years. The software is not going to be there. All the gimmicky stuff that we talk about, some of that stuff is cool, and none of it's going to be there. I keep on thinking about this summer when my Spark was flying and active tracking my friend's unique Typhoon, and it active tracked the Typhoon. It chased it for a little while, and then when we were coming in to land, his Typhoon just like fell out of the air from like 20 feet straight down. He might have hit a button or something like that, but it was just, there was so much going on with the remote's like this big, and it has all these switches, and it has different antennas sticking up for the video and for the transmission and everything else like that. Now on the plus side, he was actually able to go online and order the parts to fix that himself for a relatively inexpensive price. He didn't have to go through a repair shop or anything like that. So that's, the plus side of it all. But I'll probably keep an eye on the Evo and see what happens. I know I was never impressed with the actual image from the last Autel. Looks like I'm skipping around a little bit. Well, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on here. I hate to drag these out and all the rest of this stuff. So I was hoping maybe a couple people that owned it might have came on and talked about it. But I guess we'll see. I'll keep on following everything here on YouTube and Facebook and see if anything interesting comes up about it. You know, there's going to be, there's always a big fatal flaw that comes out that has to be corrected with like a firmware update. It was the focus issue with the Mavic. It was the gimbal flip with the Phantom 4 Pro. I can't remember what was wrong with the spark. Oh yeah, I made a video about it. The sparks randomly just started dropping out of the sky. So there's always a fun fatal flaw out there with all these DJI releases. So I guess we'll see what this one is this go around. So keep an eye on the channel, guys. Got lots more FPV stuff coming for you, RL. I got to fly 2 batteries today and tested out that Predator that you saw me struggle with, changing those settings. Man, the Predator is for real. The image in that thing is about as close to natural as you can get. It's as great an image as my Predator. It's as great an image as my Eagle 2, but there's no shimmering or artifact or anything in it. So the Micro Predator, the Predator line are awesome, awesome cameras. So I might have to put a couple of my Eagle 2s up for sale. Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for calling me lucky. It was 25 degrees outside and it was like 20-mile-per-hour winds, so they weren't great flights. I still haven't even looked at the footage yet. I've been cleaning up the shop down there all day, man. It's just got too overwhelming. So I cleaned up the shop. Of been boxing some stuff up. I think I might do some giveaways or something here on the channel just to get rid of a bunch of stuff. I hate to give away like a bunch of like old, dirty, cheap, busted stuff, but you know, I don't really have any sponsors or nobody else to give me anything cool to give away. But I've got like, you know, so many props and so like just so much stuff that it's just time to clear it all out. So, and I have it 3D printed all in like a couple months, and now I got both 3D printers running downstairs. I got a case, like a little tiny whoop case, except it's printing for my Baby Hawk R, so I got that printing. And then I restarted the print on the Session that I showed earlier on the Session mount for the reverb that failed. So that's it. But I made a lot of progress. It feels a lot more open and created some more storage and just kind of moved some things around and cleaned some things up and back into a pretty decent workspace again. I just need to. I'll probably do that or give a bunch of it to some guys at the flight at my flight club that probably would like to build some quads and stuff, but don't really have, you know, all the resources to go and just like buy a bunch of stuff. So just kind of give back, you know. It's better than like putting it on RC groups for like $30 for like a box of like 5 frames and someone saying, can I give you $10 for it? And it's like, it's going to cost me $15 to ship it, man. So, sorry. Yeah, and I don't know why OBS is dropping frames. CPU's only at 12%. Running on my Mac here, so everything should be all good. I don't know. Alright guys, well, I appreciate everything for stopping by, and keep an eye on the channel and like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and And I'll see you tomorrow with a video or something like that, because I'll be in here. I'm not going to be out there. So, later.